The Appalachian Mountains stretch for hundreds of miles, a spine of ancient stone cutting across the heart of America. By day they are calm, bathed in sunlight, their ridges alive with the chatter of birds and the rustle of leaves. But when night falls, the air changes. Mist crawls down from the peaks. The trees whisper, and the stories that live in these hills rise from the soil like the dead who never found peace. If you listen closely, you can hear them. If you stay too long, you may never leave. Tonight, you will hear 7 nightmares hidden in Appalachia that you will never forget. On a ridge in North Carolina stands Brown Mountain, a place ordinary travelers once thought was just another rolling peak lost in a sea of forest. But for generations, people have seen something strange there. Lights, flickering in the darkness, rising from the trees, floating like lanterns guided by invisible hands. In 1913, the government sent scientists to study the phenomenon. They expected an easy answer, reflections from campfires, headlights, tricks of the eye. But the lights kept appearing, moving in patterns no flame could follow, drifting across the ridges like souls searching for home. Locals whisper that they are the spirits of Cherokee warriors slaughtered in battle, still wandering. Others say they are the ghosts of women killed by jealous husbands, carrying lanterns to find their way out of purgatory. The most chilling part is what happens when someone tries to follow them. Time and again, search parties report hikers who vanish into the night, last seen walking toward the glow. Their footprints end in the mud as if they were lifted into the air. No bodies have ever been recovered. The lights always return, waiting for someone new to notice them. And once you see them, it is said you are never the same again. Farther along the range lies Roan Mountain, a place of breathtaking beauty, but also one of deep sorrow. Ask any family who has lived in its shadow for generations, and they will tell you not to let children wander there alone. Too many have disappeared. In 1908, 2 brothers went to collect firewood. Their small footprints were found leading up the slope, but they stopped at a clearing as if the boys had simply stepped off the face of the earth. In 1952, a little girl named Clara wandered into the trees chasing the sound of singing. Her mother heard it too, a soft lullaby floating across the ridges, but when she called out, the song stopped. Clara never returned. Searchers found only her ribbon, caught in the bark of a tree. Locals whisper that the mountain itself calls to children, luring them with a mother's voice. Some say it is the spirit of a grieving woman who lost her own, seeking replacements for eternity. Whatever sings from those woods, it has never been silenced. Parents in nearby towns still warn their children. If you hear a song coming from the trees, cover your ears and run. In Clay County, Kentucky, an old name is still spoken in fear: Ellie Mae Granger. In the 1800s, she was accused of witchcraft. The townsfolk blamed her for every misfortune, from cattle that grew sick to infants who died without explanation. One bitter winter, they dragged her into the square, tied a rope around her neck, and hanged her. Before she died, she cursed them all. She promised that she would return and drink their blood, that their children would wither in their cribs. The weeks that followed turned the town into a nightmare. Cows were found drained, not eaten, not torn apart, just emptied. Then the children began to die, their faces pale, their bodies limp, with no blood left inside. The grave they dug for Ellie Mae never stayed shut. Hunters claim they still see her moving through the trees, her hair wild, her face twisted, her eyes glowing red. If you meet her on the ridges, the old saying goes, you will never wake again. The people of Clay County still bury their dead with iron nails driven into the coffins, just in case her curse spreads from one generation to the next. Virginia holds its own terrors. In the place known as Screamer's Gap, the night sometimes brings the sound of a whistle. It is faint at first, a mournful cry cutting through the silence of the hills. Then comes the rattle of wheels, the roar of an engine, and suddenly a train appears in the darkness. But the tracks that run through the gap have been abandoned for more than a century. In 1891, a locomotive derailed there, killing every soul aboard. They were buried in a mass grave near the tree line. Since that day, travelers and farmers passing through the valley report the same thing: a train made of smoke and fire, racing through the night with windows broken, passengers staring out with empty eyes. Stand too close and the ground shakes beneath your feet. The iron scream cuts through your chest. And then, as quickly as it came, the vision vanishes. But those who have seen it say they carry the sound in their dreams, a whistle that calls them back to the gap again and again. In Tennessee, there is a hollow no church has ever dared to claim. The locals call it the Devil's Step. The story goes back to a preacher who came to the area in the early 1800s, determined to cleanse the land of evil. He held a sermon in the hollow, declaring that he would cast the devil out himself. Witnesses said he screamed in the middle of his prayer, his body contorting as if burned alive. But no flame touched him. When it was over, he lay blackened and dead, his eyes wide open in terror. Since then, the hollow has remained barren. No grass grows. No birds sing. Travelers who step into it at night report the sound of footsteps following them, sometimes stopping when they stop, sometimes moving closer, no matter how still they stand. The air grows heavy, thick, as if someone unseen is standing inches away, breathing down your neck. Few dare to linger there for long. Those who have left in panic say they never truly left it behind. The footsteps sometimes return to them, echoing in their own homes, reminding them of what they met in the hollow. West Virginia has its own weeping curse, one that follows the water of Wolf Creek. The legend tells of a woman driven mad with grief. When her husband abandoned her, she drowned her children in the creek. When she realized what she had done, she walked into the water herself. But death gave her no rest. Campers hear her cries carried on the current, soft sobs that rise into screams. Hikers see her at the water's edge, dressed in white, her hair hanging over her face, her body dripping with water though no rain has fallen. She asks a question to those who see her. "Have you seen my babies?" If you answer yes, she follows you home. And once she has entered your house, she never leaves. Families near Wolf Creek tell of sudden floods in their basements, rooms where the walls drip as if the river itself has seeped inside. They whisper of eyes watching from mirrors, always wet, always waiting. To this day, parents warn their children not to answer strangers near the water. The crying woman is still searching. And then there is Granite Hollow, a scar deep in the mountains. In 1914, an explosion tore through its mine, killing more than 60 men in a single instant. The fire raged so hot that the company sealed the tunnels with the bodies still inside, turning the mine into a tomb. The town withered and died soon after, but the hollow never grew silent. At night, the ground trembles with the faint sound of picks striking stone. Lanterns glow faintly in the cracks of the earth. Campers who sleep nearby wake to the sound of voices calling from beneath the soil, begging for help. Some say the miners never realized they were dead, trapped in endless labor, forced to dig through the rock of eternity. Others believe something darker claimed them in that fire, binding their souls to the mine forever. Whatever the truth, Granite Hollow remains sealed, its mouth shut with stone. But those who live nearby say the earth still breathes, whispering through the cracks, waiting for someone brave enough or foolish enough to open it again. These are the nightmares of Appalachia. Not stories told for amusement, but warnings carried across centuries. The mountains are beautiful, yes, but they are also graveyards. Every ridge, every hollow, every creek holds a memory that refuses to die. You may walk their trails, admire their beauty, and believe you are safe. But when night falls and the mist rises, remember this: the mountains are watching, the dead are waiting. And once you have heard their stories, you will never forget them.